RTI.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
It sure is. It's a Friday. It's 1300 hours in the Central European zone. I have no idea what it is in Australia because I can't even count that much. And it's about noon in the UK. So anyway, as I promised you, we will go to our esteemed professionals first. So that'll be me then, I suppose, ish. I'm here in Poprad, down from the mountains. It's a bit chilly at the moment. It'll be all right. And I'm off to Poland tomorrow anyway, so don't care. It'll be nice and sunny there, that's for sure. And first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the pro on the station today. It's none other than Robbie.
G'day, everybody. How is everybody?
Are you right?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to phone a friend? 50-50, you know, yeah. Ask the audience, whatever. Anyway, Robbie's sitting in for Rach this week, so thank you, Robbie, for that.
No, not a problem, mate. It's an absolute pleasure.
He's so. Have you seen how he's so Australian? He's so chillaxed that he's almost horizontal. It's unbelievable. And as I promised you, we have got a rookie this week, so Rob and I will look after the rookie. It's Leigh Banks.
Hello.
Hello.
G'day, Leigh.
I don't know what to say when you introduce them.
He's sulky, boys and girls. He's sulky.
I'm not. I'm just a rookie. You know what a rookie is? A rookie's a big black bird with big feathers, and it represents death.
No, that's a rook, dear boy.
Oh, no, it's a rookie's no, don't say that. I didn't, because I'm not a professional. I nearly said something totally unprofessional there.
You did then, didn't you? You naughty little girl. Anyway, Dave's in the house already. Welcome, Dave, from London, and several others as well, which I'll probably try and get round to in a moment's time, because we like that. But first of all, Leigh wants to do some creeping.
I do. That's very kind of you. Yes. I have to say, I am sitting on the mezzanine floor of
Mezzanine floor?
Mezzanine floor, yeah, they've got
It's
others.
mezzanine, dear.
No, it's mezzanine if you're a Mancunian. You picked on me being a Mancunian all last week as well. In Manchester.
I've never heard it pronounced like that before.
No, me neither, Rob. See,
What, you never heard of Manchester?
Rob.
That I have.
No, Rob, you've got to remember, we are dealing with a rookie here. So be gentle with him, Robbie.
You're right. No, I have to say, on the mezzanine floor, which is absolutely glorious.
Oh, hold on. Newsflash. Dave says, I back Eric for once. Mezzanine. Mezzanine.
I've just had a driver error. I'm not even in a car. Because it's just flashed up on my screen, driver error. Anyway.
Well, you driving it, I'm not surprised.
So, will you let me say?
Yes.
Right. So, we were leaving the hotel, right, we're ready to go, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, heck, I have to do that amateur show thing that we do, where all the amateurs get together. And I said to the night in the hotel, yes, dear, did you speak?
What amateur show? Are you going dancing or something this afternoon?
No, I'm doing water aerobics, though.
Right, okay.
You're not. Sorry, I shouldn't have interjected there.
No, you should, Robbie. That was wonderful.
So anyway, these very nice people,
right.
At the Pearl Marina.
Are they very, very nice people?
They are very. They're a bit sort of they're Spanish, which means they're wonderful.
All right.
But they're a bit like toreadors, and they go, sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Say, no, you were not upsetting me. I just want to say, yes, you could use my mezzanine floor.
All right. That didn't sound a bit like a Spanish person.
It sounds like Spanish people here.
I think you need a hearing test.
A hearing test. I can hear them now. And when I arrived at the hotel, I said, we'll do the show, but it'll be a bit noisy. Is that all right? She said, we're in Spain. And that's it. Spain is the noisiest place I've ever been in my life. It's even noisier than New York, Rob.
I would love to go to Spain.
It's fabulous. You come on now.
Well, we are going to Europe at the end of the year.
Yes.
I know, yeah. Are you not going to Spain?
No. We are going to Poprad, though.
And you're going to Italy,
And
aren't you?
Manchester. Yes, we're going to Italy. Yes.
It's just got to be done, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
That's just like Spain, except it's got Italian people, and they go. And you're like that.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dave is so right. 4 minutes in, and it's already collapsed into total chaos. Absolutely spot on, mate.
Let me say what I want to say.
Oh, sorry, Lee. What were your? Oh, we haven't got time now. I've just filibustered Lee's promo.
Anyway, thank you very much. That wonderful hotel where I'm sitting on the mezzanine floor, and the Perla Marina in where are we? Nerja. We're in Nerja.
In what?
We're in Nerja.
Could you say that in English?
No, that's in Spanish. I'm Spanish.
Yes.
I live in Nerja.
But that's not how the Spanish say it.
Ah, you're so rude.
I know. I've been practising all week. I haven't been able to talk to you much this week. I've been saving it all up.
I know, ignored me all week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have been ignored by the Wiltsher.
I've had a holiday this week. It's been wonderful. Oh, you can't believe it. Anyway, so have we what was the name of the hotel? Just give me the name of the hotel.
It's the Perla Marina Hotel, and it's in the centre of Nerja. Nerja for people who can't speak Spanish.
Nerja.
Right.
Nerja.
It's not. You're not Chaz and Dave, you know.
Are you saying I'm two-faced?
No, I can imagine Chaz and Dave doing it with Gertja and Nerja combined. Unbelievable. Never mind. Anyway, so are you nice and sunny? Happy boy?
Oh, I'm so sweaty, man. Honestly, it's so hot and so wet and damp, and it's cloudy. And the clouds just held the weather down, and it's just like being in a big purple sauna.
Oh,
why purple?
I don't know. It just came into my head as the words came in.
I agree.
I was thinking the same thing, actually, Eric.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got a new song. We've got a new signature tune for Leigh, by the way. Rabbit, 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 more rabbit than Sainsbury's. Other stores.
A couple just passed me in the purple sauna.
Other stores are available. And yes, there is too much information from Leigh. The thought of him doing water yoga and being in a sauna and all smelly is just too much for the world to cope with.
I am stinky.
He's not selling Spain, is he?
No.
I am so smelly, man. Even I can't stand next to me at the moment.
Haven't you, Leigh?
Yes.
In Spain, they've got things called showers.
I've just had one, and that made me even hotter.
You take a lukewarm one.
Well, it looked warm, and but it wasn't. It was boiling.
Lukewarm.
Is it on the coast?
What, the shower? No, it's in the hotel room, yes.
This lovely town you talk about.
It is. It's right on the beach. The hotel room is right on the beach, and the problem with it is that all the steam off the sea, because the sea gets steamy, and the people in the sea get steamy, and that makes the water boil, and then it all comes in your room. So it's probably killed my computer as well. But it's just been such a wonderful place to be. If anybody wants to go anywhere in Spain, go to Nerja.
Nerja. Right.
Yeah.
So you've got a job with the Spanish Tourist Board down there, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I've learned to speak Spanish.
I despair. I really do. Hola, Spain. Sorry.
Una paloma blanca. She's here.
Yeah. Right, we move on, because I can't take any more of this. And I can't say this word, oh dear. A very nice man from China, unfortunately, he's died. How does one say that? Leigh?
Liu, hang on, I've learnt Chinese as well.
You're right.
It's Liu Xiaobobo. Or what do you say, Rob?
It would be Zhao.
It's Laobo, wouldn't it?
Isn't it like a Z?
Yeah, it's a Laobo,
When it
isn't
starts
it?
with an X?
Yeah.
It's an X. It's not a Z. A Z.
It's a Z in Chinese, you fool. Don't be rude to the poor man, who was a Nobel laureate, was this gentleman, and he was a prominent human rights and democracy activist. He died at the age of 61, which of course sent everybody into a flat spin, with all sorts of ridiculous clandestine stories around the web on the fake news websites, which I don't like. But he was actually treated for terminal cancer, which is a sad thing to do, and not a nice...
The true story is that actually he could possibly have survived for a lot longer, but the like you say, the fake news websites are putting this awful story out. But actually, he wasn't allowed to leave the country because he was being held.
Well, he was under house arrest, wasn't he?
Yeah, and really, when you think if there was a chance of him surviving, then maybe it would have been worth letting him leave the country and then putting him back under house arrest again after.
Yeah, but if he'd have got out, he'd never have gone back, mate. He'd be like the rest of them. But there you go. That's sad news. Chuck Blazer, the guy who was disgraced along with several others in that awful organisation called FIFA, which I think just should be disbanded. We'll let the FA run the football. That's a much better idea. He's died at the age of 72, his lawyers said.
I know. I thought this was more for you to talk about than me, or Rob could, because I didn't even know that football involved like running around with a ball under your arm. I thought that was rugby.
What's the impression of FIFA in Australia, Rob?
Oh, look, I think it's the same as everywhere else. I think they've just really embarrassed themselves, haven't they?
Yeah.
Over the last sort of 5 years. I mean, I think people were always very sceptical, but it really did just all come out into the open. And, and they sort of had to admit it in the end, didn't they?
Well, they did indeed. There you go. You see, it's what happens when the French organisations hijack an English sport. They wreck it. I couldn't resist.
Well, who's running FIFA now?
I don't know. I don't know the bloke's name, actually.
Yeah, because there was a French guy there for a little while, then he was busted for something as well, I think.
That's right.
And then
This is going totally over my head. I can't speak French.
No?
Yeah, but no.
Parlez-vous français, Mr. Monsieur Banks?
Ik spreek een bisschen of kind of Frenchen.
That's German.
How do you know that's German?
Because it sounds like German.
Robbie, we've got some guests. We've got some guests. Our friends.
Who would they be?
Steve and Wendy have just appeared, and unfortunately we haven't got the microphone won't work, so you'll have to gather around here to do shouting.
Sorry, you're going to have to stand by Stinky Banks.
I know.
Stinky Banks.
Stinky.
Stinky Banks.
Say hello to Steve and Wendy.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Hello, Steve and Wendy.
Hello. G'day, Steve. G'day, Wendy.
Actually, that's kind of a good one, isn't it, Robbie? It does roll off the tongue well.
It does.
What does?
Stinky Banks.
Stinky Banks.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue beautifully.
That's very rude. That's very rude.
Well, no, just a minute. You said you were humming stronger than a hummingbird.
It's just, well, yes, and I'm smothered in that stuff you spray on.
Yeah.
It just like, I've just like broken through it and just become this like, I can't explain what it's like. You know when meat roasts?
I'm getting this horrible visual.
I think there's too much information again, isn't there? Actually, I think you're like the water lady on Doctor Who.
That's very kind of you. I love you.
When she drips water everywhere all the time.
Yes, that's how I envisage myself, as a water lady dripping water everywhere.
So basically,
it's a vision I've had for years.
Basically, you're a big drip.
Oh, dear, oh dear, oh dear.
You did walk into that one.
You did.
Can I just explain to our guests? We have a problem. The microphone's not working and the speaker's not working. So you probably can't hear anything.
He's broken everything. Anyway,
I've broken everything.
Yes. The Greenpeace director, Stephen Tyndall, has sadly taken his own life. He was a former Foreign Office diplomat from the FCO and an advisor to governments, and then became executive director of Greenpeace UK in 2001 and continued to 2005. Terrible sort of situation. Because he was quite a passionate guy about stuff, and really did believe in all sorts of things. Not overly bonkers green, but he was passionate about saving things and keeping things right. And when somebody takes their own life who's been that passionate, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
But it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, what you say, Rob?
No. I was very interesting fellow though. That he seemed to, after he left, he sort of changed course in the way he believed in that nuclear energy and GM crops and all that sort of stuff. It sort of, I don't know. It seems like a pretty interesting character. I don't really know much about him.
I'm just going to explain something. Our guests, Steve and Wendy, are looking askance at the moment because I told them that Rachel Brunsden, who late of prisoner of cell block H, was on the show today, and they now think that Rob, who's talking like that, is actually Rachel.
No.
Rest assured, it's definitely not Rachel.
Actually, I'm going to interject with Dave's comment again. Apparently, Leigh, you sound like a character from a comic book.
I think I'll take that as a compliment.
I'm not sure it was sent that way, but we'll go for it.
Okay, that's fine. Who is it? That Dave Rhodes person?
Yes. Who actually did a most amazing show on RTI last night. Really cool.
Actually, I listened to it. I did listen to it. It was very good indeed.
It was.
And I was looking at his pictures.
Yeah, but I wouldn't look at his pictures. I would learn from him in terms of editing, Leigh.
Editing Leigh? He edited me out, did he?
Dave, I'm wasting my time. Rosie Stamp, the scientist who developed the underwater television, has died at the age of 92. And when you think about when she did that, that was flipping amazing.
That was very early 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very impressive.
Yeah, to actually waterproof something at that point is just mind-blowing. You think about your day job, Rob.
Yes.
And digging holes and stuff like that, and having an underground sort of cavern. And in 1951, you could have put a camera in it. You'd have gone, yeah, right. In fact,
absolutely.
In fact, you said, yeah, right, in the 80s, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Leigh doesn't know what we're talking about, by the way.
It was an underwater television camera, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you watch it in the back.
Which is even more impressive.
Yeah, I know.
What I was trying to find out was you introduced Rosie Stamp as a her, and I think she was a he.
You're right.
I think you should apologise.
I apologise to Mr. Stamp.
I think that's, and I was just checking that out as a good journalist.
There's a first. Blimey, what's going on? Hang on, there's pink elephants outside. Pink elephants outside. But no, I think that's just a fabulous piece of technology that our Dave would have used as well, because he does like his camera work, you know.
I know, I've seen him in some of his films. You know, I appear in comic books. Well, I've watched him in those films that he makes.
No, do you want the best film that I've ever seen of Dave making?
Go on.
We went down to... It's either Kent or Essex, I can't remember which. I think it was Essex. And we'd got this tiny, the most minuscule, the most insignificant little paddle out to a boat. It was Essex, he says. Oh, God. Yes. And we were going out to this 70-ton trawler, the Radio Caroline ship, and we were filming a documentary about said ship and station. And honestly, we couldn't have been out there more than 5 minutes. The estuary that the ship was moored in, it was like it was like you could play billiards on it. It was so smooth. Yeah. We get to the ship, and Dave's as green as green apple.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what's up? Well, I don't like boats. Why not?
Oh, what you mean?
My tummy's... I was expecting him to fall over the side at any moment.
And you filmed it?
No, he had the camera, so I couldn't film him.
Oh.
Apparently he gets seasick on a pier.
Well, I get seasick in the bath.
Yeah, I do sympathise with him as well. I'm terrible.
Are you really?
Yeah.
No. I do remember a rather nasty ferry crossing from the UK to Holland as we were going to a big radio convention one day. And we were on the... what's the name of the ship? I can't remember now. Anyway, as we were going over, it was really pitching and rolling. Apparently it was a force 9 gale out in the North Sea. And everybody's like going and talking to the white telephone. And I said, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'm going to go and have breakfast. Egg, bacon, sausage, tomato, fried slice. That works. I was absolutely marvellous.
It's a funny thing. I've just never, ever been any good at sailor. I suppose I'm just not very good with water in any form.
Well, your guests know that today by the smell.
Thank you very much. They've all gone, actually.
I'm not surprised.
They're actually standing under the that central heating thing that does cold.
Right.
Air conditioning.
Central heating thing that does cold.
Air conditioning.
Air conditioner, that's the word.
And I was only...
Here's one for you. Here's one for you two clever people.
All right.
We're about to go on a 350-mile journey in a car which has no air conditioning. So I said, why don't you just put your heater on cold? Now, surely that's the same as air conditioning.
No.
Oh.
In one word.
Heater on cold. No, that won't work.
No.
Because the heater on cold is just outside air, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what Andrea said, but I thought being a woman, she was just making it up.
No, you're the woman of the family. She's the brains and man of the family.
Oh, all right then.
So Andrea, as normal, is correct. And as usually, you are...
I'm sort of extravagantly, exotically, charmingly, wittingly wrong.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. US doctors, we've been serious for a moment, who claim that Charlie Gard, that's the little boy in the UK who's got the severe brain damage, and there's such a... It's a difficult one, it really is, because little Charlie is very sick. His chances of survival, even with these incredibly new techniques in America, is about 50%.
Yeah.
Now, the trouble is, and Dave knows this as much as I do because I was a pain in the backside at the time. When my first daughter was born, she was very, very poorly and didn't breathe for about 4 minutes because of a heart valve problem. She's 22 years old now and fine and driving everybody else nuts now. Now, you know, people were saying, oh, the baby's this, the baby's that, the baby's the other. And I'm going, no, absolutely not. And they were sort of saying, well, she's doing this because... I said, no. I said, look, I can prove it. And every time she moved down the incubator, which was at a slight angle to help her breathing, her feet would hit the end. That would annoy the heck out of her, even though she's like 2 days old. And she would force herself up the incubator again, as best she could at that age, to get her feet off of the cold incubator wall.
Yeah.
She didn't like cold feet.
Well,
fair enough.
That's it.
You know, but with the point I'm making is that with these doctors are saying, oh, Charlie's this, Charlie's that, Charlie's that. They don't actually know.
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The point, there's 4 points here which are really important. First of all, this child was born naturally to loving parents who looked after him for for 11 months and have cared for him and have done everything they can. And their decision on what will happen with their child's future has been taken off them. A court has decided that this child must die. and they're fighting to save the life of their child. Now, the doctors in Britain have said that he won't have any chance of getting better, and the court adopted that attitude towards his future, which his future was nothing. Now, America has said that they have a 50 chance of getting him better. Now, I think a 50% chance of improving this child's life is a phenomenal thing to be able to promise.
Well, do you remember the story, Leigh, about me?
What's that? Yes, of course I do. Yeah. Yes.
When, I don't know if Robbie knows it, but absolutely true, boys and girls. To explain this, there's a rule of broadcasting. You're either broadcasting or you're dead. There's no in between, and I am the absolute pinnacle of that sort of thing. Now, when we first came out here in 2005, I was not well. I'd been to the doctor several times in the UK, complaining of pains in my tummy, in my kidneys, blah 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 blah. And it was a kind of a case of take the painkillers and it will go away. I ended up taking Solpadeine, which are very, very strong tablets, 2 of them every 2 hours, until one day I collapsed. I just went down in a big heap. Luckily, my PA was around. She phoned an ambulance, and they took me to the Poprad Hospital, emergency operation, and they found that my appendix had ruptured, and the poison had gone into my brain. And they actually gave me a 10% chance of survival, and they had a priest there reading me the last rites. That's how dodgy it was. But I'm still here.
Exactly. And if this child has a 50% chance of having its life improved, there are plenty of children who are disabled.
Of course.
And why has this child not got a right to live? People have attacked. I attacked Donald Trump and the Pope for showboating on the back of Charlie Gard. But as things tend to work out for Trump, it's actually he has actually feasibly done some good here.
Yes. By
the fact that he's highlighted this case in America, and American doctors who treated children with a similar kind of problem have said that they can possibly increase his lifestyle. It could be up to 56%, it's now being said. And yet the British courts wanted to kill this child.
Well, if I had 10% that survived, and I was old at that point, a child who is still developing and can still control parts of their brain in different ways as they grow up, has got a 50% chance. There's something not right here.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Even if he only had a 10% chance of improving, that's
enough.
That's worth a shot.
Yeah,
that's enough. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's enough.
A human lot.
Yeah, and I am very surprised about Great Ormond Street because they are a fabulous hospital, and I've been a huge supporter of Great Ormond Street for a very, very long time. But there's something I'm not getting here, and I don't understand what it is.
There was a bad thing, a very bad thing happened in court yesterday, where the parents stormed out of the court.
Well, they were so upset.
Well, yeah, but it was because Mr. Justice Francis, who has to be totally impartial in this matter and has to make a decision based on what is presented before him, said to the court, the parents both properly and with difficulty accepted what the child now is not worth sustaining. Now, the mother said,
bang out of order.
And the mother said, I didn't say that at all, sir. And the judge said, this is actually quoted against the court in the Court of Appeal. It was certainly one of you who said the quality of life he has at the moment is not worth sustaining. And the parents said, we didn't say that. What we said, he hasn't got a quality of life at the moment, and we are fighting to give him a quality of life.
Yeah.
What is going on with the British judicial system?
I don't get it.
Wow. Well, that doesn't sound very good at all.
It doesn't, does it? Anyway, we move on because Rob now has to defend Australia.
Ooh, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
I think you're going to find it very difficult.
I think you're going to find this extremely difficult. A 96-year-old woman with dementia has been deported back to Scotland after moving to Australia to spend her last days with her family. This is a story that we broke on here several months ago when the fight started to keep her in Australia. And Christine Grant left Scotland after the tragic death of her eldest son, which came shortly after her husband. So, I mean, she's had the most horrific time. And now Australia's going, well, sorry, mate, you got to go back. Nothing to do with us. And I kind of get that in one way, because the Australian medical system has not been invested in by the lady, which is sad. But there must become a point where you say, hold on a minute, this ain't going to last forever.
If I was to have a guess, and defend the mighty nation of Australia, I would say they're probably looking at it and saying it's the law, and you have to abide by the law. And I think it's more a case of if you allow one to bypass the law, how many other thousands of people would then say,
It's a floodgate.
Okay, Gran, come on over.
But this isn't what happened, Rob, is it? This isn't what happened. What happened? She came across, I think it was called a tourist stream visitor visa. And what happened was she had to leave the country. I think is it once every 12 months, and then she could return on that visa. Now it was decided because she's 96 for God's sake, and it was decided that they would put her on a cruise.
Yes,
and the government decided because she'd gone on the cruise that she had broken the terms of the visa.
Right.
Now that is absolutely, I think Australia, I've been to Australia, I quite like Australia, but I think Australia is painting itself in such an awful light in so many ways at the moment, with so many ridiculous and insensitive decisions. Allowing people to float round its coast in boats and say, "There, go somewhere else. We're not having you here, cobber."
It's a hot political topic in Australia. It is. It's funny.
Do you know what, Rob?
We're so relaxed.
I think you're right about the law bit, and I've got to say that is a very strong defence. And this came. Well, in fact, it brought the government down here a few years ago, when the first lot of people were coming through Europe, and Germany and the EU said, "You will do this, you will do that, you will do the other." And I think at that point, Slovakia had taken in around 200 people since the early 90s. So we're talking 20 years, 200 people. And they said they will not be able to fit in. And the truth is, it is very difficult to fit into Slovakia if you want to pretend you're something else. It doesn't work. You've got to be part of the community. So on the law side, and for anybody that's thinking this Brexit malarkey is all balanced, when you come to Slovakia, if you do not apply for and are granted a residence card within 90 days, you leave the country. Which I understand.
You sort of have to respect the laws. At the end of the day, I agree. I mean, effectively what they did was they unwittingly made a mistake by sending her on a cruise and not sending her back to Scotland. And
that's right.
Bringing her back. So, all being said, they sort of got to. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on countries like Australia from people wanting to come over. So if they don't follow the rules, then you have chaos. So,
it's like
things like
it's the same in the airports, isn't it, Rob?
Well, it is, and immigrant. I mean, Australia's built on immigration.
Yeah.
What is it? 48% of our workforce is born overseas.
Right.
So everybody's an immigrant in Australia, basically. So you sort of there's a love for multiculturalism and all the rest of it, but it needs to be done in an orderly fashion.
But
that's the way. That's the way we perceive it here.
It's the same as when you see people, and there was a woman trying to take some food from Thailand or somewhere into Australia, and she said, "Well, this is the food I eat," and he said, "Not in Australia, you don't, because it could harbour some bacteria, it could damage the local." Nature and the ecosystems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And she was refused, and she had to pay a fine for not declaring it. And
that's a different thing, though, isn't it? This is a 97-year-old woman who flew out there on. I've flown to Australia. It's the most horrendous flight you can go on. It's interminable.
It is a tough flight.
It's boring. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. It's absolutely awful. She flew out there to spend her last days with her family.
Yeah, but that was a year ago, Leigh.
Yeah, and all right, she didn't die the day she got there, so she kicked her out of the country then.
No, but if they'd have, I'm kind of with Rob a bit on this one, because one thing about Australia, if you're absolutely upfront honest about what you're doing, you can actually get away with quite a lot in Australia. Which
she made a mistake. Her family made a mistake.
Yeah,
there was nothing dishonest in what they did.
No, but if they'd have said, look, she's coming over initially for 12 months, it may be a bit longer, blah, 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 and explain the circumstances properly, then maybe this hoo-ha wouldn't have happened. But I think...
Yeah, I think part of their problem is potentially they didn't research it properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just turn up to a country and then say... And I couldn't... My mum comes from England, but I couldn't just turn up to England and say, oh, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to live here now.
No.
It doesn't. It just doesn't work like that.
No, absolutely not.
So
if that's not the way it works, then what I say to Australia is stick this old woman in a rickety, knackered old boat and push her out to sea with the rest of the people you've rejected.
No. But
that doesn't make it. But that doesn't make it. May be the law, but it doesn't make it right.
No,
so,
it doesn't make it right
because it is a bit cruel.
Yeah. I just think there's a level of blame on both sides of the camp.
No, you can't say that. No, I can't. How can you blame this family who wanted their mother with her, the grandmother with them in her final days, who made a mistake? They made a mistake.
Leigh, all right, but I'm not expecting Rob to know the answer to this one, but, easier to get to than going on a cruise with somebody that's got dementia would be to go to New Zealand, which is a totally different entity. The whole gambit of New Zealand is, although people think, which they shouldn't, that Australia and New Zealand are joined at the hip. They're not. They're completely different. Now, if the lady had signed out from Australia, signed into New Zealand, and a few weeks later come back from New Zealand, she'd have had a new entry position. You see what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but is this not the state of the world today? That we have a child that is barely viable as a child, so the courts say kill it. And then we have a 97-year-old woman whose family made a mistake. So send her back.
Where's the compassion?
What an awful situation for this world to be in.
I get your point, Leigh, totally. I really do. Yeah. But by the same token, it comes back to where do you draw the line on stuff?
Now, not on a 97-year-old woman or an 11-month-old baby.
No, I get it with the 11-month-old baby because that's got a potential life in front. And I totally understand about the 97-year-old lady wanting to be with her family in her last few days. I get it. Don't get me wrong. The issue is not with those two particular things. That's why the American doctors are flying over to England to talk to the judge directly. And that's the right thing to do. Now, with this particular lady, as Rob quite rightly said, if they'd have done a little bit of research before the trip started, they might have been able to go down to the Australian embassy and say, look, this is what we want to do. Is there any way round it so we can extend the 12 months to 18 months or something like that? And
they would have bent over backwards for it.
They would have done. They would have done everything.
I'm pretty confident. Pretty confident they would have done it.
Yep.
We love the Scottish. He doesn't love the Scottish.
This is what the Department of Immigration and Border Protection have said. This is exactly what they've said. All visitors to Australia must hold a valid visa for the duration of their stay, and comply with the condition of that visa. Yeah. The tourist stream visitor visa is normally valid for stays of up to 12 months.
Normally.
And as with all visitors, is designed to fit blah, blah, blah. And the last line they say is, we are conscious of this lady's circumstances and the department is working with Miss Grant to resolve her visa status. Yeah. Why didn't let her stay in the country?
Because if they do that, the floodgates open and Australia ends up like other countries that can't cope. Like Italy's struggling with immigrants. You've got
see, we would never in Australia that would Europe. The perception here in Australia is that Europe is being too soft. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the perception. Yeah. They're sort of, we had a similar issue, nowhere near to the extent, about 7 or 8 years ago, and they went pretty hard on border control, and they effectively stopped it. So it sort of
isn't it
happen.
A case of picking your targets, though?
What's that?
Isn't it a case of picking your targets?
Absolutely. They're two different situations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's the perception is that they're probably a bit soft. And they should because you sort of, I don't know, it just seems like there's a massive flood going into Europe at the moment.
Well, that's
I could be wrong.
No, you're not wrong, because everybody else is struggling. I mean, when you think about it, Rob, you've even got, believe it or not, the Irish Navy down in the Mediterranean pulling kids out of the water, which is barking mad. But what they're not doing is they're not going back to the source. And I think, again, the source was the family with this Australian situation, where if they'd have said something at the beginning, rather than being terribly British and nervous about it, just be upfront, which is not the British way, they would probably have found a different resolution for them.
I think that's a very far. I think what you've just said, that isn't the British way to be upfront.
No.
I think you're totally right. I think that is so disgusting.
Yeah, I know, but we do. Pardon me. We do hide, or the phrase is, we are conservative with the truth, and it's a British phrase, for goodness sake.
I know.
The truth, I like that.
Yeah.
How terrible is that? It's like people tell our phrase as in journalism is, we live at the upper echelons of the truth. At least we're honest.
Yeah. and you know what? It is like that. If you're, and that's one of the things that's really been hammered into my head in Slovakia, where they say, and they're almost black and white here. There's no grey area in the middle, because they are either yes or no. There's no maybe in the middle. And that's difficult for a Brit to understand when you first get here. But once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite fun. Because you can have even more fun with it. Because you could throw the curveball in the middle and you go, why? And that really throws everybody. It's amazing. I do hope that they get this sorted out for the lady and the family.
I think they will. I think they will.
I think
there'll be a workaround. There'll be a workaround.
Yeah.
It may not be easy
Why
for her.
didn't they do it before they kicked her out?
Because the family didn't ask right in the first place.
Well, they should have. It doesn't take a lot for a country to say, that woman's 97. She's going on a 15-hour flight or 24-hour flight. It could kill her. Let's see if we can sort this out before she has to do it.
I think they were trying, Leigh. That's my understanding. And the Australian way is to be up front. And it is right to be up front, but there you go. Yeah. We got to move on to squeeze a couple more stories in. I'm going to leave the poor lady in New Zealand alone for a little bit of for now. And this is a fabulous story about Twitter. Absolutely brilliant story. And this is just absolute gold. You're right, Robbie. Dave's favourite travel company are Southern Rail, which he loves beyond belief. And they put this lad in as a work experience schoolboy to run Southern Rail's Twitter feed, which is normally absolutely full of complaints. Everybody just moans. But this boy, you see, he got it right. He was up front. He was up front and he said, I'm a 15-year-old work experience boy in charge of Twitter for the day. And the whole thing became fabulous. This kid, he turned everybody round with people, being nice to him, asking him questions nicely, and people asking silly questions as well, just for the fun of it. And he turned the negative into a positive. And now I've got the burning question. The burning question of the day. If 15-year-old Eddie can go on Twitter and turn the negative into a positive, why the flipping heck can't Southern Rail do it?
Why can't Donald Trump?
For goodness sake.
Well, actually, no, to be fair to Southern Rail, they have done it.
Oh, very clever.
No, that's not very clever.
True. He's right.
They put Eddie in charge.
Yeah.
And he's doing it. So they made the right decision.
Well, because they're not capable of...
We're not getting anywhere here, guys.
No. An iceberg the size of Delaware. I'm not going to sing the song.
Yes.
Yeah, what did Delaware then?
I have no idea. Probably...
Don't go.
No, I'm not going there. One of the largest ever recorded icebergs has snapped off the West Antarctic's ice shelf. Again, we've had the numpties going on, oh my God, it's global warming, we're all going to die next week. No, we're not.
We might.
Not.
I'd just stick
we might.
Not.
I'd stick it in a whiskey sour.
Yeah, exactly. You and your whiskey sours. And, this happens on a regular basis. They've known about this for flipping years.
Not as big as this. It's never happened before.
It has.
No, it hasn't. They've never had a big piece of ice drift off like that before.
Excuse me?
Yeah. They have. In fact, what you'll actually, if you see a map of the Antarctic ice sheet, it actually grows and contracts quite regularly.
Yes.
In fact, in recent times, in the last decade, I think, and I could be wrong here, but I do believe certain areas have actually increased. Mm-hmm. So it's not uncommon.
It's not
uncommon.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But
Although this is a big one, though.
It's
a whopper.
A big one.
It's a whopper. It is a whopper. Apparently there was a massive bang as a mum panicked, as she quite rightly would have done, as the heat shattered some glass on a coffee table, which was an outdoor table. It exploded. It can do that.
But shouldn't be selling it as garden furniture then, should they? To leave it out in the sun. All they're relying on is that you don't get any sun in the UK, so it won't...
That's what was confusing me.
Well, you don't, normally.
That's what I mean. That's what was confusing me.
You can sell a table that's going to explode if you do.
It's like people that, they go, oh, my mobile phone's not working anymore. Right, well, where did it go wrong then? Oh, I left it out in the garden on the table, and it was there all day, and then when I went back in the evening because I couldn't find it, then it didn't work anymore. Right. You blinking cooked it. You cooked it.
I didn't. I sat on mine.
Well, yes, you've got a big bum. But, And it's just use some common sense, people. For goodness sake.
You can't use common sense if your garden table's going to explode in your face because it gets a bit sunny.
I would be going back for a refund.
Yeah, let's get a refund. I'll get over it. Get over it. It's not worth worrying about.
99 quid it cost you to get an exploding table.
Well, it's cheaper than fireworks. What's the matter with you? Virgin Trains did not breach Jeremy Corbyn's rights. by publishing CCTV of him. And
Yep, absolutely. Of course they did.
hello, common sense says what? It's got a sign there that says there is CCTV cameras on this train, and we are filming you. Hello.
Yeah,
He
but there is
published
a
himself,
legal
didn't he?
situation.
Yeah.
There is a legal precedent here.
Well, go on.
Well, no, there is a simple fact. Yes, they tell you that they are filming you for various reasons to make sure you're not committing a crime, etc., etc. But Jeremy Corbyn is the biggest knob who's ever walked this earth.
Oh, that's Leigh Banks' opinion. We are apolitical and unbiased.
We are totally apolitical and unbiased, but he is a knob. And he got on a train and set up a photo shoot to show that he couldn't find a seat on the train, which was a load of rubbish because the seat was there waiting for him. He lied. And Virgin Trains showed the the film to show that he had made it all up.
Yes.
And then the stupid little bearded left-wing trending knob says that, well, actually, it was that really I couldn't find a seat for me and my wife together. The man should be shot.
You just you didn't want a Christmas
Nick,
card.
correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't he the opposition leader?
Yes.
Okay, thought so.
Yes. Yes, he's the opposition leader.
Wow.
He would
die.
die. He would die in
It's
Australia.
really
for that.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
You'd be hung, drawn, and quartered.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
But
Yeah.
I gather Leigh no longer wants to get a Christmas card from Jeremy.
I just think the way that this man has presented himself as the saviour of the universe and the person who will end war by not fighting anybody, who will do everything, he will nationalise all the rail services, everything, he will save the NHS. He's just making it up. It's impossible.
Indeed. Talking of impossible, we move on to the mystery of a serial hacker.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's interesting.
This serial hacker, allegedly, bursts onto... I love the way they write these headlines. Bursts onto radio airwaves in Nottinghamshire to play a rude 1970s novelty song.
What's it called, Eric?
I'm a winker.
Exactly. You are a winker.
Yes, a winker.
How does he actually do it?
I will share this with you, Rob, because it is the absolute backbone of the story,
Yes.
which the people don't understand who wrote the story. The pirates apparently has interrupted the station's broadcast 12 times in the last 3 months. If they'd have bought proper outside broadcast equipment that doesn't allow what is effectively an amateur person to override their signal going back to their radio station from the outside broadcast, they wouldn't have the problem in the first place. But I'm telling the boss of Mansfield 103.2 to put your hand in your pocket, mate, and get some proper, secure outside broadcast transmitters.
Is this a very little radio station?
This is minuscule.
How many listeners do they get, do you know?
Well, they sent tapes out last week. It was cheaper.
So basically, they're a load of winkers.
Well, this is a community station up in Mansfield, which probably means they play dead music. You know, I kind of get this because there's a lot of people very anti the community radio networks in the UK. Quite a few of them are failing because they cannot attract the sponsors, and the reason they can't attract the sponsors is because they're flaming boring. They wouldn't know radio. Well, no, actually, they go in there and they believe that everybody likes their music, which is completely mad. Because you can't run a radio station like that, because if you do, it's dead. And the trouble is, because this guy's only doing it every now and again, Ofcom can't do a lot. which is the UK regulator, because they can't really find him in time. And so, and the next point is that if this station's doing an outside broadcast, it's not always doing it from the same location, so the bloke's moving as well. And all they've got to do is put a properly... hang on. Mansfield 103 audience figures. 31,000 listeners per week. So they're little then. Only a little radio station.
That's not bad.
What, 31,000 a week?
That's bigger than Jim Hawkins on Radio Shropshire.
Well, that's probably true. Excuse me again.
He hates me mentioning him like this. I'm telling you how brilliant you are, Jim.
But anyway, all I would say, thank you, Dave, for the numbers, by the way, from Rach.
Yes, thank you, David.
The fact is, if they put properly digitally encoded and secure outside broadcast equipment there, they would be sorted. And the chances of, and I'm being really serious, the chances of Ofcom finding this guy are Bob opened the other rope. It ain't going to happen because it's just so difficult. It's not that they're going to be lazy or anything. It is just really hard to find the guy because you don't know.
Well, if he's only playing the one, if he's only playing the one song occasionally, it's going to be almost impossible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they need time.
Does the Winkers song actually blare out expletives
all the time?
Does it? I've never heard it.
Have you not?
Can I play it on my show then?
No. I'm rephrasing this because I still have one. When the single first came out, they were given away to DJs with a I think it was a bag or a box of badges that you were supposed to give out to the audience, and it says, "I'm a member of the Ivor Biggin Winker Club."
Was that who did it, Ivor Biggin?
Yes.
I remember him. He was funny.
He was from the Esther Ranson show called...
That's right. Of course he was, yeah.
Yes.
Don't
remember. Anyway, it was a Sunday night programme, and he used to play a ukulele and came out with this song. And the W word, according to our unbelievably esteemed researcher, I'm being nice, you see, the programme was called That's Life. Thanks, Dave. The W word in its entirety, not the way I'm saying it, is said 36 times in the song, which lasts a couple of minutes.
He was sort of the precursor to Tom Robinson, wasn't he?
No.
That was just for our friends Wendy.
Oh right, okay. I mean, he
from Spain to go and see him in London.
This thing sort of came out, and then you could say a follow-on from that was Roy Chubby Brown, which Australia loved.
Well, he hadn't got anything to do with Ivor Biggin.
No, but he uses the same language.
Oh, it's that rude, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realise it was like that.
It's the very rude version of a Barclays banker.
Oh.
Yes.
Are you sure I can't play it on my show?
No, Nanette. Anyway, it's that time.
Is that the new name?
Stop it. Well, you're going to be looking after people and running around and doing shopping at the weekend, aren't you, Robbie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Yes, yeah. We're going to be. What are we going to be doing? We're going to be looking for a new place potentially.
Right.
What else will we be doing?
Robbie, if you go out on your own, then you get time for a cold one on the way back.
Yeah. Well, actually, to be honest, one of the places we'll be looking surrounded by pubs.
Is it? Cool move. Just go out and do it.
Yeah, it's 10 within 500 metres. So.
What's the worst you can do to you? You can't.
Nothing. Absolutely not, because Robbie can run faster at the moment. Well, look, we wish everybody well back home, Robbie. Thank you for jumping in at the deep end. That was really cool of you. And we must do this again. We've got to do it again.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Dead right.
Absolutely.
So
certainly no replacement for Rachel, but yeah, no, definitely, I've enjoyed myself.
Good. I'm pleased about that, because we've enjoyed having you here. And Leigh, you've got about 10 seconds to say where you're going.
We're setting off on a 350-mile taxi drive across Europe again, and we're going to end up in a place called Punta Prima, the place that's banned music, live music. Yeah, we're off there to see what they're doing. And I just want to say one last thing before I go. I will claim here that I am the man who used the oldest joke ever heard on this show when I said, what will Delaware then?
Goodbye, everybody. He's just used the whole lot up. That's the end of it. We'll see you next week, boys and girls. Have a lovely week till next week. And thank you very much indeed for your company. And thank you to you, Dave, especially for all the hard work of this week. It's him next.
From the heart of Europe to the world, this is RTI.
RTI.